Hold the Line, Frederick's War, a game by Worthington Games, and this is a game based on the Hold the Line system. Originally, the system portrayed the battles of the American Revolutionary War, and now the system has been applied to warfare involving Frederick the Great. This is a game designed by Jean Chick. I don't know if you know the name. I certainly do, and I was very excited when I learned that he had designed the game. Even though he's a first-time designer as far as I know, I was still excited because I knew about him. He has been a regular contributor on Board Game Geek for quite a while, and he has contributed some of the best reviews of historical war games that I've ever read. His reviews are just so knowledgeable about the history behind the game and about all the mechanics. Really insightful. I always look forward to read some of his reviews. I noticed he hadn't written any recently, and I guess that he has been busy with designing his game. He is a scholar of military warfare at the academic level, so definitely good background. Now, let's talk about the game. The game comes with a mounted board that, as you can see, doesn't look too exciting at first sight, but the beauty of it being kind of so blank is that you can change it. You can customize it from game to game to represent different battles. You have terrain tiles, a la commands and colors, and you have scenarios, and also a la Hold the Line, of course, and you have scenarios that come with the rulebook that will tell you how to set up each battle and will give you instructions and other data that you need to play the battle. So very good that you do have a nice range of different battles that you can play all with a single game. You got nice counters here. Actually, what you see here is both the counter set for the base game and also for an expansion Highland Charge that came with my copy. I'm not 100% sure that this is included in all copies, but well, the expansion is out there and available. Counters, very large, good looking, quite clear. There's only one piece of information, a numerical piece of information printed on them, which is a number representing the morale points of the unit. As a unit takes a hit, the morale of the unit is reduced, and when it goes down to 0, the unit is eliminated. A unit can recover morale by rallying. I would have minded, frankly, to also have movement values printed on the counters, but not a big deal because there aren't all that many different movement factors. Units move either 1, 2, or 3 axes, and here on the back of the rulebook you have the tables, you have the charts that will tell you about the terrain effects and movement ratings and also combat values. This is also the combat table that you use to resolve combat. Units are divided in leaders, artillery, cavalry, and infantry. As you can see there, the hexes are nice and large. I mean, even if you place 3 units one by the other, not as a stack, you are still good. You will still be able to place units like that and have them visually available in a hex even as you play the game. If you want to make them a little smaller because things get crowded on the board, you can still do it like this. And again, you can see the identification, the value of all units without having to stack them properly, and then you need to look through the stack. If you're a gamer, clearly you don't mind looking through stacks because that has become second nature to you by now. But it is not bad to have the option not to have to do it and to have everything visually available as you go. Now, the gist of the game is extremely simple. The turn starts with player A rolling to determine action points that are available. The scenario will give a player a certain amount of action points available for a turn. The player rolls a die, a d6. The result is halved, rounded up, and that result is added to the standard amount of action points that the player receives for that turn. Action points can then be used to activate units for movement, for combat. Leaders can rally units, and you have a lot of flexibility in the way in which you can spend your action points. Once you're done with your expenditure action points and performing your actions, then the game goes to the other player, who does the same, determines action points, spends them, and you continue like this until the scenario is over and or until one of the players has met victory conditions. Infantry units spend an action point to move or fire against adjacent enemy units. If they start their turn adjacent to an enemy unit, they can also choose to spend 2 action points to start close combat against that unit. Cavalry can spend an action point to move or fire, or you can spend 2 action points to charge, that is, to move against an enemy and then to perform a charge attack. Leaders can move for free up to 3 axes, and they can spend action points to rally units. So the basic engine is extremely simple. You spend points to have your units perform actions. Different actions have different costs, and you continue like this until you are satisfied or until you do not have action points to spend left. Movement is indicated on this table, and it can be modified by terrain. And then you have, well, several types of combat. When you're resolving combat, you simply roll a number of dice equal to the number of morale points that the unit has, 3, 4, for example. And you look at the type of combat that you're performing. That tells you, when you cross-reference that with the type of unit that you're using to attack, that tells you the number to hit. For example, regular infantry performing fire combat against adjacent units hits the opponent on a 5 or 6. You roll the dice and you apply the number of hits. The number of dice that you roll may be modified by range. For example, artillery firing at a range of 3 axes, or infantry at a range of 2 axes rolls only 1 die and hits only on a 6. Cavalry cannot perform close combat, but it can perform charges, and these are the numbers to hit. There are a couple of little tweaks and twists here and there. For example, if you are performing close combat, the enemy that is being attacked need to roll for a morale check before the attack is resolved, and that will tell you whether or not that unit will retreat after the attack is resolved. It is unusual to resolve a morale check before the attack itself in a wargame. I guess the idea is that you need to do it based on the morale level that you had before the attack. A unit that fails a morale check will retreat after combat, and then the opponent may choose to move into the X that was just vacated. Cavalry has special rules, so doesn't need always. For example, if you are charging a cavalry unit with a cavalry unit, the target cavalry unit can attempt to withdraw by passing a morale check. If the morale check is successful and the target cavalry unit decides not to withdraw, the target cavalry unit can actually countercharge. They're just little things here and there, which maybe could have been organized a little bit better in the rulebook, but not a big deal. Nothing too bad, nothing of a deal breaker, really. And this is pretty much how the game works. I could get into detail more, but I don't think you really need it, because these are the general ideas. Then the flavor, the personality of the game comes with the ways in which such a simple, reliable, solid system is implemented. From scenario to scenario, you can see that a lot of work, a lot of love went into designing these scenarios. All in all, this is a really, really good game. I think you got really good value for your money here, because you have a very flexible system that plays well. It is fun to be able to organize the way in which you want to spend your action points from turn to turn. There are, yes, quite wide swings of fortune as units, morale of units on one side start eroding, and maybe that side gets more action points. But overall, in the great scheme of things, I found that the story, the overall narrative that the game creates, makes sense. The narratives are strong. The narratives tend to go along historical lines if, of course, players perform well according to a certain way of performing. If you're just really, really a bad player, then being Frederick per se is not necessarily going to be a great advantage for you. But the game is fun. The game is flexible. I see how it could be very easy for anybody to design their own scenarios. It could easily be an introductory war game, but there are enough decisions, there are enough subtleties, there are enough tough moments to definitely keep the experience war gamer interested too. It is a game that doesn't take long to set up, doesn't take long to play. An average battle will last between an hour, maybe 2 hours if you're slow. Another great thing is that the game is ridiculously friendly to the solitaire war gamer. If you're like me and your life is busy and a little bit unpredictable, you never know what's going to happen next, when your daughters are going to get a bellyache or whatever, you know, it may be hard at times to find the opportunity to play with other people. Well, then if you have a game like this on your shelf, you can always play a war game, because there's no hidden information. At the same time, you have limited knowledge of the future due to the variable number of activation points that you will receive from turn to turn. That is the perfect situation, the perfect setup for a solitaire experience. So, Frederick's War, Hold the Line, Frederick's War. If you like the theme, if you play the Hold the Line in the future, or if in any case you just like historical war games that are light to play but definitely fun, full of decisions and full of tense moments, well, I don't think you can really go wrong with this one. Very good product. Some small typos in the rulebook, some things here and there in the rulebook that could have been maybe not a bit better, but those are small things. I guess I'm mentioning them mainly just to see you that I gave a good look at the product, that I'm seriously reviewing it, not just putting together a general advertisement, even though I may sound like an advertiser because I really like this game and I really wish you gave it a try. Frederick's War, Hold the Line. To me, this is a winner. I really enjoyed it, and I think most gamers and war gamers out there would enjoy it too.